God is good, and today I want to talk about some ideas if you would like to provide yourself or your family or both a very retro gaming experience. Now, maybe I'm the oddball here, but there has to be others out there that would love to have that kind of excitement of thousands of retro hits to enjoy with the family on Christmas. And since my entire family has respect for the video game history and retro style of games, this is something we can achieve, and I want to share some ideas with you so that you too can enjoy an old school gaming Christmas. Now, before we begin, if you are new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you enjoy old school MMOs, RPGs, JRPGs, CRPGs, and all that sort of thing. That's what we do here. And a big shout out to the members of Napalm for keeping this channel alive. Thank you so much, and if you are interested in supporting this channel, please click the join button down below for more information and a list of perks. Now let's start it off with some ideas for some classic consoles remade for modern HD televisions, and with some conveniences and keeping price in mind as well. I want to start this off with the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, which is a very affordable, and it's much easier to find these days. Now, it comes with 20 classic games, but forget about that. If you click the link I have in the description down below, you can see how to add hundreds of games of your choosing to the SNES Classic and still keep the crisp, clean UI of selecting games and options that comes with the SNES Classic. I went through the entire collection and selected a ton of the best two-player games, RPGs, and all the best for my Super Nintendo Classic, and got it all set up and ready to go for Christmas, and I expect it to be a big hit. Playing Super Nintendo games with the advantages of it running crystal clear on an HD television with a very authentic Nintendo licensed controllers on this beautifully made and designed mini Super Nintendo is a sight to behold. And for $80 US, I now have a full collection of every Super Nintendo game I would ever want to play, and a beautiful way to share these classics with my children. Now, keep in mind that kids these days are very used to pixel art games thanks to the popularity of indie games. My kids spend most of their time playing niche indie titles over the big budget AAA titles anyway, and I just know they're going to fall in love with the Super Nintendo library, especially with the hundreds of options they now have with the modded Super Nintendo Classic Edition. And by the way, modding it is super easy. Just follow the directions that I leave below, and you don't need anything but the program downloaded on your PC and the cable that comes with the Super Nintendo Classic, and simply use the built-in memory of the Super Nintendo Classic, which can hold hundreds of titles. No SD card or anything like that necessary, and so that makes it such a bang for your buck for $80. Now, of course, I can't talk about modding your classic game collections and not mention the Raspberry Pi. As for most people, this is the cheapest and most advanced way to play classic games, from Atari all the way up to Dreamcast. I found a beautiful, ready-to-go, plug-and-play Raspberry Pi device with 135,000 games on it that actually is sure to include any game you loved growing up with perfect functionality for $150 US. Now, when you buy this device, I would advise, however, that you do also grab up a set of controllers. Although the system comes with two Super Nintendo style controllers for full functionality of all the games, I would grab up two PC controllers. I chose to go with the Xbox 360 wired controllers because they're compatible with basically any game you could possibly find, and you can pick those up for around $17 each. Also, be sure to use the HDMI on the device closest to the power cord plug-in when hooking this up. A common issue is people use the other HDMI plug-in and have problems with sound. For the price, it's a powerful, beautiful device that will give a lifetime of gameplay experiences, and I can absolutely promise you will get a major bang for your buck. If you really want a cool experience, grab up a few 8-bit replica controllers for a few systems, as any USB PC controller will work on this device, and it's a very simple setup for new controllers plugged up as well. Now, of course, some people, though, prefer a more dedicated system per console, and I can understand why. With all these classic editions or mini editions of classic consoles, there's something just pure awesome about them. And of course, we have the NES Classic, which is awesome, but it's a bit pricey still, and honestly, my family and I have so many original carts for NES, we played it to death, so I skipped that one in this video, but it could be a great fit for you and yours, so it can be modded with the same program as mentioned for the Super Nintendo, and loaded with every NES game in its catalog if you desire that. However, I want to move on to the Sega Genesis. It also has a really cool Mini as well, which comes preloaded with 30 great Genesis games. But once again, I've opted to use the program for the Super Nintendo to load mine full of every game I love for the Sega Genesis, and the controllers included are very well crafted and would take a true expert to spot any differences from the original hardware. Now once again, seeing the Sega Genesis run on HD televisions is a true treat, and the Sega Genesis had plenty of awesome exclusive games that you can have thousands of hours of entertainment. The Sega Genesis Mini can be grabbed up for around $50, and once again needs nothing additional purchased in order to mod it to your heart's content, and you can use that same program that I mentioned for the Super Nintendo. And now let's talk about the bastard child of the classic editions, the PlayStation Classic, which is hated for its subpar functionality and low list of options for the games included, plus many people questioning Sony's decision of putting the lower frame rate versions on it, etc. The good news is that the modding community has pretty much fixed all of those issues, and once again you can load up a bunch of PlayStation Classics of your choosing and have more functionality with the system. Now I have to admit that it is a little bit more complex in doing it with the NES or SNES and the Genesis Classics, but it can be done. But to be honest, once you reach the 32-bit era, honestly, I would just advise going through Raspberry Pi and grabbing up a PC-compatible PS1 era controller and go that route. I still believe it will run the games better on the Pi, give you more options, and just be an all-around better experience. But if you are the type that just has to have the little mini PlayStation for aesthetics or whatnot, I understand. And the good news is that due to everyone taking a giant dump on the release of the PlayStation Classic, it can actually be grabbed up for very cheap, around $50, and then you can mod it to your heart's content. And I believe with these options, guys, you can have a very retro Christmas with your family, enjoy some multiplayer games huddled around the TV just like the old days, some couch co-op type experiences, and have a really memorable time, and it's something I'm looking forward to, and I just wanted to share my advice with you, just to give you maybe some good ideas of something that would be really fun for Christmas. 2020 was a rough year, and I think this is a good way to kind of spice it up right before we wrap it up and end this, whatever you want to call 2020. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope you found some things you liked from it. Let me know in the comments down below if you're thinking of doing something similar with you and your family, or for just yourself even, just to enjoy some classics. Let me know about that in the comments down below. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and plenty more videos before Christmas, but I do also want to say I hope you have a very Merry Christmas in 2020 and get to spend a lot of time with your loved ones, etc. And thank you so much for joining me. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. And until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming. Please listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. It's a video buffet, you can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.